Now, I just want to make it clear that here in this video, I'm not talking about women who are forced into prostitution. I'm not talking about human trafficking or pimping or anything horrible like that, because of course I'm against that, in which a woman has no choice but to sell her body. Here I'm talking about women who voluntarily have sex with other people for money, either because they enjoy it or they've chosen it as their lifestyle or their job. So I just wanted to make that very clear before things explode in the comment section. Now, I have to admit, at first I thought the idea was a little bit dodgy. My kind of inner angry feminist was screaming, why are they doing that with their bodies, and why can't they find a real job, and rah, 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 rah. But then as I kind of sat down and thought about it and read about it and watched documentaries about these women's lives, it came to me that I can't pick and choose with regards to people's right and freedom to choice. Now, these women have chosen this as their job or career. This is how they make money. And it sounds very dodgy, but when you think about it, they're kind of giving someone, I don't know, a nice gift in exchange for money, of course. But when you take away the strict religious, especially religious morals regarding sex and intimacy and companionship, what sex workers are doing are really giving someone who might be lonely some company and some physical human touch, which has been proven to be magnificently beneficial to people who are suffering from depression or loneliness. Just that human touch, the warmth, the kind of fuzzy feeling I get when you touch someone or when you're held close to someone. It's what babies need as they're growing up. They need that human skin-to-skin contact. So I don't see it as a bad thing with regards to hiring someone who is voluntarily in that line of work to do that job for you. Now, it would definitely take a certain person or mindset to be able to do that as a career and to switch off and see it as more of a job than an intimate encounter with all these different men. And I kind of applaud that. I applaud that, being able to disconnect yourself in a, I don't know, professional manner. And a lot of these sex workers still manage to have proper relationships outside of their job, in which they are with another man or woman, depending on who they choose, and they manage to make that work because they've developed a system in which they see it as their job, and they may enjoy their job, but they've disconnected themselves from that kind of loving part of sex that many people associate sex and intimacy with. Now, from what I've heard and read, the feminist camp are in two minds about sex workers, voluntary sex workers. One of the stances is that it's terrible, it's taking back women's rights, hundreds of years, they're selling their bodies, they're cheapening themselves, etc., etc. The other stance, in which I would say I'm a part of now. I was part of the previous one, but I've kind of thought about it a lot and am now on the side of, look, everyone should have freedom and choice over their own body, and this is what these women are doing. They're freely choosing to use their bodies to make money. It's a choice. They're free to do that. If we can give other people equal rights to, say, have elective surgery or have abortions or have those rights to your own body, then I don't see a problem with a woman voluntarily selling her body, as long as she is sensible and safe. And from what I've seen and heard and researched and read about, sex workers are very, very pedantic about sexual health and obviously protection. Of course they have to be. So I see it as more an expression of their sexuality and their bodies rather than, oh, you're taking back women's rights hundreds of years, because you're not really. You're giving women the choice to do whatever they like with their bodies. Of course, not all countries or states are giving women these choices. A lot of countries and states criminalise sex workers and prostitution, and sometimes even criminalise the people who are paying for it, which is quite sad. I can see where the government is coming from. It's a very tricky issue, but from a personal standpoint and from a moral standpoint, I guess, I kind of applaud these women for doing what they want to do. And although some of them aren't in it because they love it, some of them are in it because they would like to make some extra money. They don't mind the job. They're not repulsed by the job, obviously, or they wouldn't be doing it. And they have the freedom of choice. A lot of these well-run brothels or escort agencies or call girl companies, I guess you'd call them, you can opt out whenever you want. There is no contract. There is no, you must stay for 2 years or you must do these many clients. It's all freedom of choice, and you can't really argue with that. So I guess what I'm trying to say in a rambly type of way, which is my style, is that I've kind of respect sex workers a lot more now that I've actually looked into it further and not just seen it on the surface as a grubby, dodgy kind of underground thing. There are surprisingly many sex workers around, but because it's illegal, they have to work kind of undercover, I guess. And I don't think that these people should be criminalised for what they're doing. They're essentially doing nothing wrong. They're essentially doing what many young people do on a Friday and Saturday night. Sleep with a stranger, usually intoxicated. They're just charging money for it, and they're doing it in a much safer environment and way, with guaranteed protection, guaranteed sexual health checks. I think it's every 3 months. And they're doing it in a way in which they have control. They can choose who they do and do not sleep with, or who their clients are. And this to me is kind of almost not a dream job, in the sense that they are sleeping with people, which I personally couldn't do. But they have control over their own career. They can choose when they work, how much they charge, who they work with, how many hours they work a week. When their holidays are, they can take a day off whenever they want. It's kind of the ultimate freedom that everyone strives for, but because it's in this realm of sexuality, it's often looked down upon because people are too prudish or don't know enough about the industry to really judge it for really what it is. And as I said before, I do acknowledge that there is a very seedy, dodgy and criminal layer to this industry. The human trafficking, the prostitutes, the pimps, all that. I have said that, but however, I am just talking about the women who have full control over what they're doing, who they're seeing, and I don't know, it's been a little kind of epiphany, you know, when you change your mind about something and you think, oh, this evidence has actually swayed my opinion. I used to think this, and now I think this, and I think my life is better for thinking that. So I just wanted to ramble about that for a little while and see what your thoughts are. I know it's a very touchy subject, and I know it's quite different for everyone. Everyone has their different views on it, which is fair enough. I can see where everyone is coming from in terms of this subject. So yeah, tell me what you think. Thanks, guys.